What's up guys, hope you're doing well. Today I want to talk about branched chain amino acids, also known as BCAAs, their role in your diet and what do I think about their supplementation. So first of all, branched chain amino acids are 3 out of the 9 essential amino acids, and these 3 amino acids, isoleucine, leucine and valine, conform 35% of your skeletal muscle. On top of that, they have a crucial role in terms of energy production during exercise, reducing fatigue or feelings of fatigue, improving performance, and upregulating anabolic processes. So in terms of energy production, the BCAAs get turned into keto acids via the branched chain aminotransferase, which then these keto acids get sent into the liver to get turned into intermediaries of the Krebs cycle, and these intermediaries get basically go through the Krebs cycle to get turned into fat H2 and NADH alongside CO2 and ATP, and then via oxidative phosphorylation we get ATP, which is an energy currency in your cells. Then on the other side, this amino group that they lose actually goes to alpha ketoglutarate, which gets turned into glutamate, and with pyruvate it turns into alanine, which feeds into the glucose-alanine cycle, which is again key for energy metabolism. Then in terms of reducing fatigue, high concentrations of tryptophan in the brain actually increases feelings of fatigue, tiredness, and reduces performance. So because BCAAs have the same transporter to cross the blood-brain barrier as tryptophan, higher concentrations of BCAAs actually reduce the amount of tryptophan that is in the brain, reducing the feeling of fatigue and improving performance. Also, for protein synthesis, muscle protein synthesis, or upregulation of anabolic processes, we have particularly leucine, which basically the way it works is that we have a cestrin which binds to GATOR1, which is a complex that upregulates protein kinase, which is called the mTORC1. We also have mTORC2, which is mTOR complex, which is part of the main mTOR pathway, which regulates anabolic processes in the body. So the cestrin binds to the GATOR1, and what leucine does is that it binds to the cestrin, so it actually takes it away from GATOR1 so it can upregulate mTORC1, which then leads to the phosphorylation of 2 key protein kinases, which is P70S6K and 4EBP1. And these two initiate the anabolic cascade, which leads to muscle protein synthesis, in summary. So with that in mind, we have to ask how important they are to intake them from your diet. Because they are essential amino acids, we have to get them through diet. And because we're doing physical activity and we want to maximize results, we have to look for high BCAA foods, which are usually animal sources of protein. Now, something to keep in mind is that if you're following a plant-based diet, you might actually want to supplement BCAAs, in that case to get enough leucine to basically stimulate enough muscle protein synthesis, or have a higher intake of protein. You know, the recommended amount is usually 0.8 grams per pound of body weight, but if you're a vegan athlete, I think I made a protein video a while back, you can check it out, you might want to intake 10 grams approximately, more than that, or even you might want to bump it up to like 1.1, 1.2 grams per pound of body weight. I think that might actually be a good idea, because that way you're going to get enough leucine. If you want to keep your protein intake overall lower or comparable to someone that is eating animal products, you may want to either supplement with BCAAs or get corn protein isolate if you're able to, because it is actually higher in leucine than animal products. It's insane, but it's true. In actuality, you can find a lot of studies that have protein blends with pea protein and corn protein, alongside I think soy protein, which stimulate as much muscle protein synthesis as whey protein, like the best protein source out there. On top of that, we find that vegan athletes usually are able to stimulate as much muscle protein synthesis as athletes that consume animal products. And I think this is partly due to the fact that they consume a higher intake of protein as well. So in terms of applicability, I'd say do a little bit of research and find which protein sources are higher, especially in leucine, but in general, the rest of the BCAAs. And if you find yourself having a diet that is very low in these branched chain amino acids, you can consider supplementing. But in terms of their supplementation in general, the data is very inconclusive because they're usually used as an ergogenic aid, which means a substance that is used to improve performance, such as caffeine or taurine or something like that, or L-citrulline, sorry. So I don't think it is properly used, BCAA supplementation. I think that BCAA supplementation is actually used for diet more than as an ergogenic aid. But well, this is not something that is widely studied. And in terms of their use as an ergogenic aid, the data is very inconclusive because once you get enough protein from your diet, BCAAs lose their effectiveness. And in terms of when you have a lower protein intake, right, these actually show a benefit. But not only that, in terms of their capacity to influence performance and recovery, again, this is we are getting into very muddy waters because again, some studies, meta-analysis show that they have no effect, some others show that they have. If you're going to supplement BCAAs, you might actually want to do it with carbohydrates because that actually might help in terms of preventing amino acid oxidation, promoting like anabolic processes, and also helping performance to basically replenish glycogen stores. And you might actually want to add some electrolytes to that. It actually might be a good idea to produce something like a Gatorade with some BCAAs, just throwing that idea out there. But yeah, overall in terms of supplementation, I wouldn't recommend it unless you're not getting enough BCAAs via your diet. So that's all I have for today. Let me know in the comments below what you think. If you have any doubts, any questions, feel free to ask. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.